I got a new dinger. Hey, Cal Banyan here. We're back here at the Banyan Hypnosis Center completing our, well, continuing our tour. I've got Celeste. She's on my Bluetooth here. I can hear her, and that's why that's there. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to communicate. Hi, Celeste. How's it going?
Hello, everybody. Everything's going great here in Dallas, Texas.
Hey.
I can't wait for this.
Hey, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Can't wait for the rest of the tour. Go ahead.
All right, good. Well, we're kind of starting in the same area we left off at, because we have some continuity there. This is the reception area, and I don't know if Nicole's in frame or not. Is Nicole in frame? Okay, Nicole, do you want to be in frame? Here, you don't? Just stand up here. And this is Nicole. She's our new receptionist. If you call, you will talk to Nicole. Say hello, everybody.
Hi.
All right, good. All right. All right, so here we are, and we're going to be moving back into my office right now. There's something going on in this office right here, but this is one of our hypnotherapy offices. And then, Chad, you can just stay right there for a moment with the camera.
Cal, is this where you do hypnosis, etc.? Or where you do sessions?
I'm still in the reception area.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you know where I'm at, okay? I'm still in the reception area, and I'm talking about that off to my left is one of our hypnotherapy rooms. And then, again, here is the certificates on the wall. And in a moment, we're going to move back into my therapy office, which is different from my business office, which we'll probably get to next episode. So, Celeste, one of the things I want to talk about is, as people are looking at my office, I want them to realize that we're really, really fortunate in that we can do anything we want. I mean, we've got like a 4,000 plus facility, but tell them you don't need to be all big and decked out like we are to have a wonderfully successful hypnosis practice. Isn't that true?
That's true. I work out of my house in basically one room, but you're on the entire top one half of the building. Is that what you said, or is it the top floor?
We're the top floor of the building. You'll see it.
Okay.
So now we are in my therapy office, and I want to talk a little bit about why things are set up the way they're set up here. I'm being kind of an episode hog, aren't I, this time, Celeste?
Well, you have to be. It's about your center, so I'm just really, I can't wait to see this myself.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like show and tell, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm having to kind of figure out where you are just as you're talking, but I can't actually see anything in this episode.
Well, I'm sitting at my desk here in my therapy office, and oh, by the way, you guys want to see Celeste's office, you can watch a video she's got at ourhypnospace.com. Isn't that right, Celeste?
Yes. I want to do a new one, Cal. I want to do my own like yours, only lasts 2 minutes.
Okay, well, you know, if you talk about why you do stuff, it's you know, going to take longer. All right, so let me talk about the psychology and why I've got things set up the way I've got things set up. One of the things is the camera, where it's at right now and where you are viewing me from, excuse me, is the doorway. And so this is what you'd see as you walked in the door. There's my desk. Off to the side is the chair where the client would sit. And there's a lot of psychology that really goes into how this office is set up. You should set up your desk so that it faces the door, because psychologically the individual who's facing the door is in charge of the room. And because that's so, and there's research that shows why this is so, but what happens is you're in the command position, and the person in the command position is able to convey information and suggestions better to the other people. So you want to set up the client so that relatively the client has their back to the door relative to your position of facing the door. And what that does is it puts them as to where they're relying on you to literally watch their back. So they become more suggestible to you. So don't set your desk up if you can help it, unless you got a really small office, facing the wall. That's a clerk's position. Does that make sense, Celeste?
Yeah, and I must say I've never heard you give out this information before. This is new stuff, and makes a lot of sense. Is this feng shui or just psychology?
It's actually psychology. If you get into industrial psychology and start studying that kind of thing, they will talk about those kinds of things. Another thing I want to talk about is when we first opened our center, we had 3 offices for therapists, and each therapist got their own office. And so what we would do is right behind the therapist, if there was a complete wall, we would put their certificates and degrees. And what that does, psychologically, is we want to place you, the therapist, between the client and the degrees, so that you actually have, you guys watching the video, imagine that I had a real complete wall. I have kind of a window and a wall here, but if it was all one wall, I'd put my certificates here, and then when my client is here, as I'm talking to my client, I actually set up a halo of authority. You see, I'm literally being backed up by my credentials. We've moved away from that model to a more medical model of having the certificates outside where they're viewable from the waiting room. Certainly when you go to see your MD, they typically don't have their degrees in the examining room where they do the work. But if you have the luxury of having your own office, you don't have to share it with anyone else. Most of the time I don't share my office, but sometimes we have enough therapists where, since I don't see clients full time anymore because the time I see with clients is split amongst the teaching and marketing and writing and stuff that I do, my office is available half time for other therapists to use. The other office is shared between the therapists that we have employed here. How's that, Celeste?
I want to change my office now.
Let's talk a little bit more about why things are the way they are. Over off to my left is the books. And if you are a hypnotist that is metaphysical, but you see mainstream clients sometimes, you don't want to have a bunch of spooky books out there in sight, like past life regression, something that would, be kind of scary to some people. So what you want to do is have the spooky books like past life regression and stuff out of sight. Okay, and have your books that would add some kind of credibility insight. Like if you've taken counseling courses or psychology courses or advanced hypnosis courses, have those books where they can see. They add to your credibility. What do you think of that, Celeste?
I think that makes great sense. Yeah. Don't have much more to say, unfortunately, because this is just all new information for me, so I'm just kind of in a learning mode right now. And realizing that I could employ some of these techniques in my own areas, in my office, and see, I kind of have my business area in sort of also a reception area, and that's where I sit at in my desk. So I'm thinking maybe I'll have to move some of my certificates out here. So I'm just taking it all in.
Beautiful. All right. Yeah, I must have been doing the tour a little bit differently when you went through class, but this is the kind of information I have a little bit more time when I do the certification course or the Week of Power. But when people come here, they get to go through this entire tour, ask questions, and I can talk to them about specifics about the environment that they may be working in. Okay, let's see. Some other things. Right now we have the fluorescent lights on and incandescent lighting. That's just for the camera. Normally in our office we will not have the fluorescent lights on. We're just going to have incandescent lighting. That's just like regular light bulbs. It adds a little bit better mood. Not that you have to have incandescent lighting. When I do courses and I'm hypnotizing people up in front of the class, we have fluorescent lighting. But in your office you want to optimize it for a good session. Now, I have my checklist here to make sure I'm going through everything. Doesn't have to be this large. Notice how things are positioned. Yeah, Chad, go ahead and just pan that camera over there so that whole area where the big hypnosis chair is and the other chair and all that stuff. So as you look over there, you remember that the camera is facing, is right in the doorway. So since the client, it looks like the client is facing the doorway, but because the client will have their eyes closed and I will be facing the doorway, then it negates the fact that they're facing the doorway because their eyes are closed. I watch the door and they become more suggestible to me. Now some other interesting things, I'm going to kind of just walk over there. Just leave the camera facing that way, Chad. Maybe I can.
Now, Cal, you used to have a fish tank. You still have that in there just for relaxation or anything like that?
No more fish tank. I just got tired of messing with it and stuff. So, all right. So now I've moved over here, and this is the recliner. When you get a recliner, this is practically my first recliner. When I first started, I had some advice to go get a recliner from an inexpensive catalog for like $100 or something, and boy, that thing lasted for about a couple of months, and then it started warping, and so I got rid of it. And what we did is we really invested in a really good chair. I don't even remember how much this is or what the brand name is, but this has been my chair now, and it's had thousands and thousands of sessions done in it, and really it's as good as the very first day. So I think if you've got to start off with an inexpensive recliner when you first start out, do that. But as soon as you can, get a good recliner. And if you look at this, this is a big steel-framed recliner. It's wide so that my wide clients can be comfortable in here. I've had a professional football player in here, it's a big guy, and it fit him very comfortable. One of the things you want to look for when you get a chair is get one with a handle so it locks in place. If you get the kind where they just push back, and that's how they recline, the problem with that is that if they move around the session, it could unrecline on them, and it could be very frightening for the client. Another interesting feature of this chair, and I can't, email Maureen and she can tell you where this chair came from. That's Maureen@hypnosiscenter.com. She's going to love that I've said that. But one of the nice little features.
You know what, Cal, about this recliner, another thing you need to look for when you look for a recliner is get one that the pillow isn't too fat, because that can really make a lot of people complain about their neck being uncomfortable.
Yeah, you know what? I had little people and big people sit in the chair before I bought it, and it's been really good. So yeah, you just got to find the right chair. One of the things I'm showing, a neat feature of this chair, is if I have someone who's really small, a child, because we work with children sometimes, or just anyone that just isn't really tall, there's a section right here where I could just take a pillow and just stuff it right down in here. And even though their feet wouldn't reach all the way out to the extended part, they would fit in there really nice. So, and when you do that, it makes them feel that, gosh, it's not unusual that you would be working with a child or that you would work with someone who is of smaller stature, and it just is professional to do that. Another thing you want to look at, yes?
And you really do want a chair that locks in place, because with some of the work that we do where you have the client moving around and hitting the pillow, the chair can really bounce around quite a bit. And one of my old chairs, I was so afraid it was just going to close right over them and suck them right in, so you want to have one that's fairly sturdy, because once, and it's not just the big guys, it can be the ladies, they start really pounding on the pillow and really moving around, and it gets to shaking, and you do that over and over again, and then you have some very large people who do, especially if you're doing weight loss. You got to have a sturdy chair that can lock into place like that.
That's right. Yeah, and you want to make sure that the armrests are well padded. This chair has had the heck beaten out of it, and it's still in good shape. Make sure it's got a good steel frame. Now let's talk about pillows, since we're talking about pillows. In some of the work we do, emotional release work, there'll be some pillow pounding and pushing and twisting and stuff like that. And the general rule is the smaller the therapist, the bigger the pillow. And I've got two pillows. I've got the small pillow that I showed earlier, and then Celeste, you're going to enjoy this when you see the video. And then I've got the Holy Mama pillow right here, and which actually I've started using all the time, because I can just lay it across their lap, and it's just big. It's like almost 3 foot square, and they can use two hands and beat on that pillow, and it's just been a really great pillow, and it's always fluffed up really nice thanks to my clients. So
see, I like them when they're really, really dense, like a cushion, so that when they hit the pillow, they're not really hurting their leg. But also, back to the chair, it's nice if you can get one that's easy to clean. Before I had a fabric one, and now I have a leather one. I like wiping it down. We're at about 15 minutes right now, just to let you know, Cal.
Okay, thank you. And again, these episodes, I want to make sure that I get enough important stuff in. So if we go a little bit over, 25, it's not a big deal. Let's see. What I also want to talk about in this area is we've got our little nook area over here, and now maybe if I recline the chair, it'll be easier to see. So we've got a nice little piece of furniture here with the lamp on top. I've got a clock right there so I can keep an eye on the time. I've got a little thing here for mints if I want to refresh my mouth or if I get a tickle in my throat. I've got a nice little drawer here where I can keep special notepads and things like that. If you wanted to make your swipe file that we talked about earlier of your favorite patter scripts, you can have them right underneath the shelf here. And you just have it all nice and handy, but all that stuff is out of sight until you need it, and then you can just very quietly bring out the piece of paper you need if it's a script to read, or in this case it's my notes for phase 3 and phase 4 sessions because we have special forms.
I like to have hand sanitizer and lip gloss and a mint handy, just to let people know, for obvious reasons.
Why would someone need, what's so obvious about lip gloss?
My lips dry out. This, it bakes here in Texas, and the air gets really dry, and my lips just get dry. And, talking, and it's just nice to have some lip gloss handy. That's all.
Oh, okay. I just never had that problem, so I can understand that.
Well, after you start wearing lipstick, your lips tend to dry out regularly. You have to have something. The lips get used to having something on them, Cal. It's a woman thing.
Okay. Well, for all you women things out there, you listen to Celeste and you'll be fine. I'm going to talk about something that might surprise some people. I talk about how I highly recommend that hypnotherapists, what they should do is videotape all their sessions. And so I'm going to show you a little bit about how we have that set up. Now, we do this with the consent of our clients. Over here, I'm going to push this plant back so you can see it. It's not hidden, it's in plain view of the clients, but we don't want to make it too obvious. Right here, this little black bulb is a video camera so that our clients can be recorded. We also have a video camera over there, and we switch. Go ahead and pan back over here. I'll just complete this room from this location over here. How it will work then is I'll go out and get my client when I hear that they're ready for me. I'll bring them into the office. We sit there. I sit here and the client sits over here. And I will finish the pre-talk by saying, gosh, you just watched a video. You have any questions about hypnosis? And then I answer their questions. And that's my preliminary completion of the pre-talk. And the purpose of the pre-talk is to remove any kinds of beliefs or fears that they might have about hypnosis. If they
Cal, I'm sorry to interrupt. I just want to ask you, because you were talking about psychology of setting up the room earlier. What about colors on the walls? Do you have a recommendation for that at all?
Yes. The colors of your wall should be a color that they don't remember after they leave. I mean, if they leave thinking about the colors of your wall, they were inappropriate. They should just be a color that just is unremarkable. Okay,
good.
Okay. As I was saying, after we complete the pre-talk, then if they were doing a too much behavior, eating too much, drinking too much, I will answer questions that they have about the second video, which is about emotions and the behavior that they're experiencing. Then after that, we will get into what we call the pre-hypnosis interview, which is a time when we really find out the history of the problem, find out their complaint. We try to keep that as short as possible. I don't believe that we need to do 1 or 2 sessions just on intake, because most of what the client is going to report to you about what they think the cause of the problem is just incorrect. And so what we want to do is find out when it started. It's okay to find out what they think the cause of it is, and anything that they've done about it, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and then for some things, like if it's for weight loss, we want to find out how interested they are in doing exercise, if there's any particular eating plan that they're interested in, and that kind of thing. And if they're not, then if you've got a plan that you like, you got to be aware of the laws where you practice. But here we are beginning to recommend the nutritional cleansing that I'm using, and have lost 21 pounds to date. I'm so excited. Wait till you see the video.
Congratulations.
Yay. Okay.
We're at 20 minutes.
So, all right, good. We'll probably wrap this up in a few more minutes.
Okay.
So when we get done with the pre-hypnosis interview, then we do the clinical assessment for readiness of hypnosis. And I look at my client and ask, would you like to do hypnosis with me now? And I watch for their response. And if I detect any fear, that means the pre-talk is not done. And we're going to talk a little bit more about hypnosis. Then I'll ask them again, would you like to do hypnosis with me now? And once we get the response that indicates both physically, they look relaxed, they look excited to be doing it, and verbally, then we'll move to the big chair. Then I'll do like Don Martin suggests. I say, all right, let's go over to that big chair over there where everyone goes to, and then you fill in whatever they came in for. Everyone goes to stop smoking, everyone goes to lose weight, that kind of thing. And then as they get up, I let them lead, and I've got a little switch right here that has camera 1 and camera 2. Listen to this. I don't know if you can hear that on the recording, but it'll be on camera 1 in the beginning, and what I will do is I've got a switch. They're walking a little bit ahead of me, and what I will do is I will talk over the switching and do it kind of slowly so that it doesn't remind them that they're being recorded. Now they're being recorded, they know it, but I just don't want to say, and now we're going to the other camera, because it'll make some people nervous. Okay? So what we do is I'll say, yes, go on over there. You're going to find that that is just a really comfortable chair. Now what I've done here is I've talked over the sound of the switch, and probably even more importantly, what I've done is I have started the sentence on one camera and finished the sentence on the other camera. One of the reasons I record is for my own protection. There's a number of reasons you should videotape. One is just for your own personal professional development. You can go back and look at sessions, admire the stuff you did good, the stuff that you didn't do so well. You can study up, figure out what you should be doing differently. If you're fortunate to work at a hypnosis center like this, where you can get supervision and there's permission by clients to have staff look at the videos, like every Wednesday we get together and I supervise the hypnotherapists here. We look at their videos and it helps them grow rather quickly. So there's supervision, self-development, and also legalities. We videotape every session, and if someone was to say something went on in the session that was unethical or illegal, I can say, bring it on. I've got a video of the entire thing. And so what I do is, since we have two cameras, I start with the sentence on one camera and finish it on the second camera. That demonstrates that there was no time lapse between the two cameras. How's that sound, Celeste?
That sounds good. Are you using VHS or DVDs?
We're still using VHS just because it's a system that's worked, but we buy them in bulk at like Sam's Club and Costco, and they're getting hard to buy now. And so we've got instructions out to our IT team that, gosh, we need to really look at using digital DVD recorders, and we'll be switching over to that. And it's going to save us a lot of space, too. You got to understand, when we moved from California to, from Minnesota to California, we had a lot of videotapes that had to be destroyed. So we destroyed everything that was over 5 years old and shipped the rest here. And then every year we destroy another batch of old videos. And it'll be a lot easier when we just have DVDs. We're just going to take a quick break here in the program and have Chad pan across the office so that you can see really how the entire office is put together. You'll see over here we have all of my books and things here in the shelves, and panning across to my desk, and now over here to where the chair is, and you can also see where the stereo system is. I hope you find that interesting. Now back to the program. All right, Celeste, I think that you have any questions about my office?
Well, no, I can't wait to see the video. I'm kind of flying blind here, feeling a little disoriented, but I know when I see it, it's going to be great, and I can't wait.
All right. Well, then, let's sign off for this episode, huh?
All right, and we do have this great question coming up, and it is about, and it's not going to be in this one because unfortunately it's so exciting we ran out of time, but in the next episode, hopefully, it's all about color coming up for the client, and what does that mean, and what to do about it, because when he was in hypnosis, he had all these colors flashing around, so we definitely want to get to that question. It's pretty interesting. I'm Celeste Hackett. Thanks for tuning in to Cal Banyan's Hypnosis Etc. with me, Celeste Hackett. I'm in Dallas, Texas. My website is Family First Hypnosis. Please come and take a visit, take a look around. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
All right, and this is Cal Banyan. Visit the websites right below this video on calbanyan.com is associated text material and links. Please visit, besides calbanyan.com, hypnosis.org. We've got tons of great material there for you, class listings, and you can get all of my classes. I have NGH-approved hypnosis certification courses and advanced hypnotherapy certification courses here at our center, and I think next episode, we're going to see the classroom and the rest of the office, and so you can see where you can go. We got the greatest chairs you'll ever see in a classroom. You won't believe it. And this is Cal Banyan signing off. This recording is the property of Cal Banyan and Cal Banyan's Banyan Publishing Incorporated. All rights reserved for private use only. May not be duplicated without written permission.